with coffee. God, I love coffee. It's 8:30 on a Sunday, and I have to work tomorrow, so I probably shouldn't be drinking an extra large latte, but, you know, you gotta live your best life and allow yourself things that make you happy. And that's what I'm doing. It's what I'm telling myself I'm doing. Okay. Okay. Hello, Lavenza.
You wish to browse? Would you like to register? This persona has been registered in its present condition. Performing a fusion. You wish to browse the entries? You wish to strengthen it? You wish to browse the entry? Please take a look. You wish to strengthen it? Awaken your new self. It seems that it can gain new power.
Oi.
Choose which skill to...
Yes, I've just tweeted the best tweet.
What did you just tweet?
Earl Phaedra Douglas Campbell is a Canadian politician, diplomat, lawyer, and writer who served as the 19th Prime Minister of Canada, June 25th to November 4th, 1993. I'm deeply sorry for the hashtag lit diss above.
Jesus. What do I want to do?
Is this the persona? Be born anew. It seems that it can gain new power. Choose which skill to...
Hello.
And I just want to apologize to you as a woman for dissing Kim Campbell by saying that she wasn't Prime Minister for a very long time.
Choose which...
I've been told that's a diss. An actual human being with a PhD on Twitter, who claims to have a PhD, on Twitter, told me that I was dissing Kim Campbell, and that offended her. All I said was that she wasn't Prime Minister for very long. I employed a little bit of hyperbole.
Is this the persona?
Like, how are personas working in this?
Now, let us begin.
So basically, so far I can only fuse them. I can't itemize anything. There's no...
No, but I mean, like, what's the...
Oh, like battle-wise?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you.
I'm just a shadow man hidden in the back.
Here. We can all-
I would have. If I wanted to be seen, it would have made it easier to see me.
Okay.
You wish to strengthen it? How much power will you add? This is what you've chosen? The power of your
Did I finally get Maiga?
this persona.
Does it not tell you what the level is?
This should be next level, but I looked it up.
You wish to browse the would you like to This persona has been registered in its present condition. You wish to strengthen it?
I'm just gonna make sure I have good coverage for typing curse, fire, ice, bless, sigh. Okay, so we're gonna kill Satana, Lilim, Black Frost. And these points let me like level things up. So Arsene, no,
You
it's not
lack the
enough.
power needed.
Okay. Interesting. Oh yeah, that is how it works in the main game, right? It gets highlighted yellow. I'm good.
It disappeared, my Pokemon.
I mean,
You wish to
the
browse
last of those is
the
just
persona
my
to
Twitter, so.
register.
And, you know,
May
I-
luck be on
I-
your side.
I see a cat and a rabbit, and I just assume that's all I'm ever gonna see. Anyway.
Okay.
You have to mute it, so why am I talking at you?
Okay.
Actually, I just really doubled down on that tweet with the greatest thing ever. I think.
Here, so I'll show you how it works. We'll just go to Shibuya because it's easy.
That's a nice diner that you live in.
I know, right?
Any black coffee there for the divorced dads having breakfast.
Yes, actually, I can cook things.
Wow. I just want to see how they've implemented personas in what is effectively Dynasty Warriors. It's like the only Dynasty Warriors like games I've played in the past are Hyrule Warriors, so
Yeah.
there wasn't really a...
Okay, so I'm gonna ambush him.
Mhm.
Most of it works pretty similarly to Hyrule Warriors. I accidentally killed them all.
Why do they have shoe blood splatter? Are they murderers? Did they murder someone? Is there evidence of a crime?
We're gonna... So it's just me. Okay, so I did an ambush. So basically, if you hold this button, time freezes and you can flip between your personas.
Oh, and it's just letting you use...
Yeah.
Oh,
And like, sometimes it'll knock them down. I'm just too powerful for this, so I could go to a different jail.
so this is like... I don't know about the second one, but very much like the first Ni no Kuni in terms of... I mean, that wasn't a Warriors-like, but...
Like, the combat is fast.
Mhm.
When did who get a sword?
Joker has like a...
It's like a dagger.
Yeah. This one's a particularly long dagger.
Mhm.
You has a sword. Well, a katana. Well,
That's a sword.
he gets different swords as you find new, like, upgraded ones.
We'll go to the Sapporo jail.
Does anybody have a sword in this, though?
Yusuke.
Yusuke is like a... Is Yusuke's a sword, or is it a kendo stick?
It's a sword. Here, I'll bring him up.
Okay. Mew the Poke... No, you. Why you? He's the gray-haired boy that you play as in Persona 4.
Here, I'll bring up Yusuke, On, and Makoto.
That was the best because she just has straight up brass knucks, bud. Although, wait, Mew can learn every TM. Wait for it. Mew can learn Swords Dance. Swords Dance is a TM, several different generations. Literally the word sword in it. Cut, you could cut with any appendage as long as it's sharp enough. You sharpen your nose, you can cut with it. Mew has loads of swords. Also, Ket was an HO. And now there's no HMs anymore, so.
Okay. So...
I should write something.
I don't know if anything naturally learns Cut anymore. Some stuff did in Gen 1. Well, I think.
Shall we get going then?
Maybe the Bellsprout line.
Hey, what do you think that is?
So these are items, kind of like stealing. They're kind of more like mementos, but
They did an alright job of the ice here. The reflections are good.
yeah.
I'd like to compare what this level in particular looks like on the Switch.
Yeah. Okay, so I've swapped to Ursen using something they're weak to, and now I can do an all-out attack. And it hits all the enemies in the area. Oh, I fucking hate Mothman.
Okay, that's like not the worst implementation of.
I actually really enjoy the combat. And you can use gun with like a Y and then follow up with physical. I'm not very good at combos, but... And then you can switch people. So for example, now I'm
Get you to use
Yusuke.
gun.
And then this is a baton pass. It will like pop up in the corner.
No. I mean, it probably says Tony. You're probably just second guessing yourself. You don't need to second guess yourself. It says Tony. And Tony can use a gun too.
I feel like I missed something there.
I'm just reading the chat.
Oh,
We won.
On to the next.
What was that final Yahoo one time? What kind of gun do you think Ash Ketchum from Pokemon would have? Something like that.
Show me your true self.
And like, obviously the answer is water gun.
oh my god. And sometimes some of them are bigger, so like,
Oh, like oversized.
yeah, and they're stronger.
Huh. You know,
And then you can use like things in the area that like do specific
Catherine,
damage.
this has been a roller coaster ride.
Watching me play this?
No, finding out that it says Tony. No context for what it could possibly mean, but if it is short for Anthony, that's good. Or sometimes you're just named Tony without being named Anthony. Nope. My phone is vibrating. This is the most disgustingly warm room. Oh god, do I even... Oh. It says Tony.
Oh, look! I got a new skill.
I won't forget the little people when I'm Twitter famous. God. Like, the amount of notifications I'm getting though, and how like
Worry about here.
annoying it is to get a notification or two every hour or so really puts into perspective what it must be like to be like a high level Twitter user, or like a celebrity or a known person on Twitter, and why they have to just like totally turn off notifications that aren't DMs and only have DMs open to people they follow. Like, you just never, or I don't know how you would manage such a thing. Okay, we getting pictures of Tony? He says Tony. Could it say Tiny? Like, I now need to understand, like, if it doesn't make sense for it to be about Tony's teeth, but, like, the small teeth? I don't know. None of this makes sense to me.
You guys weep too.
This is a dictionary? Out of context, I'm just going to decide that you're writing your own dictionary. Which we probably need, to be honest. Ooh, Sarah.
What did Sarah say?
Endgame hit everyone hard, I guess.
I did.
Or Tony's teeth. Speaking of which, Falcon and Winter Soldier, worth a watch.
Oh, it's so good. Like, so good.
I think in terms of what, if you want something like wildly different and you just want to watch like Wanda and Vision do their thing, WandaVision's great, but it's also 50% longer than Falcon and Winter Soldier.
The episodes are shorter though.
Of what?
WandaVision.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true, because Falcon and Winter Soldier are like
45-minute episode.
47 to an hour, and WandaVision is generally 22, but I think the last two were lengthened.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, the difficulty for me though now is that, like, I don't know if Loki is going to be anywhere near as good in the same way. And I don't know if they were trying to bookend, like, a particularly serious one with two that are a little more lighthearted.
Wanda was not lighthearted. I mean, it was in the beginning, but the ending...
There was more lighthearted stuff, though, you know?
Yeah,
And I think
Falcon and Winter Soldier were definitely dark the whole way through.
Yeah, overall, I think the themes that WandaVision is touching on, certainly, you know, they do get darker, but the way they approach it is pretty comic, whereas the way that Falcon and Winter Soldier are approaching it is all very realistic and stuff.
Yeah. It was really good, though. Like, I really liked the 45-minute episode TV show, structure of it. I thought it lended itself well to them being able to flesh out characters and relationships in a way that, like, one of the things I've definitely been feeling over, especially the last two Avengers movies, were that, like, you get a lot of action, you get a lot of plot, but you don't get a lot of interpersonal.
Mm-hmm.
And they really, like, God, it was so good.
Tony, his teeth, his real male teeth.
This is Sophia. She's an android and lives in her phone.
It's an old meme, we just don't know. She's an android that lives in our phone. My phone is an android, though. So.
Like an AI. Is
So
what I
she's
meant.
Siri.
Yeah, she's Siri. But also she can fight in the metaverse.
Okay.
I don't use her, though.
Yeah, screw this new character.
I care.
That's how I treated everybody from Haru on, so.
I would never ignore Akechi, and you know that. But Sumire was nothing special in battle.
I think
She's really cute.
the difficulty with Sumire is that, like, everything she does, you're so deep in the game at that point that she's not... I mean, I guess that's true of any Persona game, though. Like, the player character can do everything. You can basically, like, one character the entire game.
Mhm.
Especially in New Game Plus, holy hell.
Yeah, New Game Plus is just like pull out your favorites and run.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. What is New Game Plus? Of, like, as a concept? Or
I think she means as a concept.
let's make sure this is... generally speaking, now this isn't true across the board, I'm sure there's different ones, but New Game Plus is generally just like, once you completed a lot of games, you'll have the option to replay the entire game from the start, from scratch, but with carrying over like stats or experience or items. So in Persona in particular, every Persona you've ever fused or negotiated to join you if you didn't fuse for them or whatever, all of those carry over. So you have your whole like Persona Pokédex, and you can pull out in New Game. I mean, so in Persona 5 in particular, I don't know if Golden had anything similar off the top of my head. I don't think so. In Persona 5 in particular, if you have DLC Personas, you can download them on your first playthrough, if I recall correctly. And they're all broken and overpowered as hell. So even your first playthrough can be pretty crazy. I know I did that with Royal since it was like my third playthrough of Persona 5. I just pulled out Messiah and just like... It's the equivalent of starting with like a level 100 Mewtwo, you know? So yeah, in Persona, like you keep all your... Yeah. And that's pretty much across the board, like in every game I've ever played that I can think of. Persona is one where it's just like, it is quite OP, just because like the only thing that keeps you from getting an extremely high level broken Persona that you didn't have until endgame last time is money.
And your money carries over.
And your money carries over. So if you were like not spending all your money, yeah, like I don't know if like, I think it would be interesting if Pokemon had a more, that's as close to New Game Plus as they ever get. I think it would be interesting if Pokemon let you start over and just keep all the Pokemon you have in your boxes and like go through the story again, like as a choice. Because otherwise, like I read all the time, people on the internet, or I used to when I read like Pokemon stuff more, people would be like, I want to restart Platinum, but I don't have 2 DSs to trade my good Pokemon away. Oh.
It's fine.
Nope.
Keep talking.
I want to, replay such and such a game, but I don't have 2 systems or 2 games to trade my Pokemon over. Like, what can I do? And anything that can't interface with Bank, or if you don't have a way to like get that stuff up to Bank through like, like the Gen 5 games can Transporter them. Like you're just kind of stuck for the most part. So like ROMs are great.
I love ROMs. Okay, we're gonna go to this destination, and it's gonna have cutscenes.
Sick. Speaking of ROM,
Happened, isn't it?
Oh no, I didn't.
Rom the vacuous spider.
Yeah, I flamethrowered ROM to death in a new Bloodborne file,
There may be enemies ahead.
where I've been playing the very different skill set than I normally do.
We're ready.
Royal Ontario Museum, the vacuous spider,
Witnessed
exactly.
what happened to Mari-san with my own 2 eyes. The keyword is Snow City.
Successfully entered.
I love Futaba's jacket.
So that's what I was going to comment on. I really like the dissonance between the outerwear and the innerwear.
Like, I love it so much. I would wear that in
I
a
am.
heartbeat.
I am wearing the shortest shorts that the ESRB would allow us to put on this character without it becoming like an adults-only game.
It looks like this is the Snow Festival.
Check out those 2 suits over there.
I didn't know you were accepting rebates. I see a career man in the making.
Interesting. I know nothing of her ant ownage. Or if I do, I've forgotten.
Catherine thinks Futaba looks like she would have an ant farm.
Oh, okay, yeah. I buy that.
I want her to take full
I buy that for sure.
She calls her Bug Girl, and it makes me sad because she's bullying Futaba.
Once that happens,
And I love Futaba. She's our baby sister.
I don't think
I will.
She's our surrogate sister.
so. What I think you need to,
Won't you?
what you really need to keep in mind is Futaba isn't a real person who can hear this.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. Okay, we're getting a little fast and loose with philosophy here, but I'm pretty sure, conceptually speaking, you can't bully a unicorn.
That makes sense.
Okay, you know what? I shouldn't have said unicorn because that can refer to something else in certain communities. You can't bully a non-existent entity.
Can you bully a dead person?
No, again, I think bullying is something that
Has to be done to someone who can experience it.
bullying is something that, yeah, like there has to be like a sponge soaking up the water. Otherwise, it's just water pouring down the drain. You know what? I like that lore. However,
This is actually what happened, though. We found her in a box at the bottom of a dump.
okay, that tracks.
Of course.
Did you just say?
There. Oh, it seems I've been found out.
I mean, so the thing is, though, they only have the cool names to hide their identities to begin with, and she is a non-human artificial intelligence, so
Kyoto?
I don't think she did need to pick a different name, right?
I had no idea
Like-
you were behind this, that anyone was behind this.
Sure, pick a different name to, like, do the thing they do now, but...
Well, this festival is held by the city, meaning it comes out of the taxpayer's pocket. I figured.
It's about being part of the in. That's what I mean. Like, do it for that reason, but...
What's wrong with getting compensated?
I guess you can pick Sophie in that sense. Like, it would have been weird if Ryuji was like, yeah, my name is...
Ryoji.
Yeah, Ryoji.
I can't believe what
That's me.
I'm calling the police.
But, like, she doesn't have that need, so I think just changing the last letter of her name is a perfect choice.
I'm gonna testify that I did it under
So-
your orders. Then you'll be ruined. Well, after all, you're the one in charge here. See, I even
Sir, you can't wear black forehead.
right.
Not acceptable.
Sorry to say, but you're finished, Mayor.
Not cool.
You're a councilman, aren't you? Don't you want to do the right thing?
As far as I'm concerned, that's whatever's right for me.
Also, why is he, like, guarding his genital area?
Maybe he's afraid of getting punched.
Are you finally ready to listen?
That is weird, right?
to me, Mayor?
It's one of those strange things where, like, a very small change... That's an interesting shot. A very small
Yeah, he's
change does a
aggressive.
lot more than it would look like.
How can you
It should do.
peon like me? You don't get paid enough for this. This
Really should have brought Haru into this fight, though.
money talks, bullshit walks, Mayor.
Oops. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. It's a sheath
Idea
that I'm
why
thinking of.
someone do
Yeah.
something like this.
Do you not have the ability to change people out
Think later, act
in
now.
battle? I know that was relatively late game in the actual games.
Ladies
A bless and curse, though. You have your own side.
Oh yeah, I'll be fine. The only one that I really struggle with that Haru has and I don't is gun.
That's the thing I appreciate about Persona is that they added gun type.
Mm-hmm.
And Pokemon's afraid to do it. What's Fairy weak against? Gun. What's Fire weak against? Gun. What's Water weak against? Gun. They're all weak against gun. Yeah. Just change Steel to Gun. Get rid of everything that's Steel. I don't know, Catherine, if you shoot a Charmander in the face, I'm pretty sure Fire's weak against Gun. All depends who goes first in that interaction, because yeah, Fire would melt Gun, I suppose. Or Bullet. But there's definitely, I guarantee you there is art on somewhere on the internet. Cowboy type Pokemon. You know, I've long believed that we should just like exponentially increase the number of Pokemon types there are.
Oh yeah.
To such an extent that, first and foremost, I hope it's like a fan game out there like this, or a ROM hack or whatever. But just to, yeah, incomprehensible. Like every Pokemon has its own type, like its own unique typing. No two Pokemon. I'm not sure if I mean like even inside an evolutionary line, like if Charmander and Charizard should just be like totally different types or species. Like I don't know how intense I want to get with this, but like Charmander should just be a type. Like this is a Charmander type Pokemon. And the like, instead of a nice little chart that shows you weaknesses and resistances, it's like a book this thick. It's like a tome. Competitive Pokemon just becomes like a coin toss. Oh, Catherine's making a meme. Oh, I suck at the exposure list for today, I guess. Really, nothing that really affects me. 13th and 14th. No. Yeah. See, exactly! Catherine gets it. You know, or, oh god, this would be even, okay, even better. Not just Charmander is its own type, every unique Charmander is a unique type. Every time you catch a Caterpie, it's a totally unique type. I mean, they are in other ways, you know, like IVs and whatnot. Every Pokemon has a personality number that's hidden that makes it, I suppose, not 100% unique if you get into like vast numbers of Pokemon, but pretty highly unique. Like, look, Pokemon has been around for a quarter century. We're almost 10 generations in at this point. It's really losing its steam in terms of like creativity. Exactly, Natasha Bedingfield is always right. You know, sometimes you just realize that you're staring at the blank space before you, and you open up the dirty window to let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. You're reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions.
Oh my god.
Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Wait. I used to have this. God damn. Unwritten. Speak the word. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Worst thing I've ever said. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your life begins. The rest, still unwritten.
It's true.
Now that is one you do need to have ready years in advance. Damn. What are the ladies from the hills up to these days? What's my girl Heidi Montag been doing, you know? Show's over, turn off the stream. Because I started talking about the hills. The greatest reality show in the history of television. Oh, did it say show's over? Sorry, I was busy looking up people from the hills. The best reality show in the history of television. Which I did watch the entire run of. And that's wild because it was about like 20-something white girls working for teen magazines in LA or New York or whatever. I think it was LA. It would make sense since they were all from Laguna Beach, the real Orange County. The Lock Keeper isn't even a Pokemon, it's just a man. A lot of Pokemon are just men if you think about it.
That's so much.
Machoke? Machamp? That's just a man. Well, I mean...
Where did you go, sir?
Depends on how you look at it, right? Like, Arceus is God.
Yeah.
So, is Mew Jesus? I feel like there's probably some parallels there. Did Mew die for our sins? Yeah, that's the that he did. He got turned into stone for our sins, and then Pikachu cried him free. Well, all the Pokemon did, but Pikachu started it. Mew was Mewsified on the cross. Didn't even get a reaction for that. I said Mew was Mewsified on the cross. There you go. Why? Why? Why is that out there? Why is this MS Paint drawing of... I hate it so much. Also, like, Gardevoir is just a lady, so that's another Pokemon that's just a person. Let's just Google Pokemon that is just a people.
I beat him. You give me money.
I was aware of that one. I used to use that one as wallpaper on my computer for a little while.
Those guys.
The last Poke Supper.
Mayor just now.
One was a city employee. The other must have been.
But that one does put Arceus in the place of Jesus. So, and you know, Jesus is God or whatever.
Employee accepted an illegal donation from the contractor who ended up building the sculpture.
Payment for landing them the job. In other words, bribery. We don't know if the sculpture collapsed due to
Who is
structural
in?
issue or a general lack of repair.
You think I know what the Last Supper is? One sec.
Either way, the councilman was in the know. Not only that, he tried using
Oh,
a fatal
God.
accident to take Kyoto's position.
Or off the top of my head,
Something
I'll know
along those
Judas
lines.
when I...
Unforgivable. Everything
Alright.
makes sense now. Kyoto overheard this conversation by chance.
I mean, so this doesn't have as many people, right?
Can they even hear you?
Even her own staff had blackmailed her.
Yeah.
It's messed up. These greedy assholes
Uh,
want money and power.
I mean,
Now I
so
see
pose-wise,
Kyoto must be thinking,
um,
when she found out those around her were immoral, she
pose-wise, it's Darkrai.
purged the corruption above all else.
What is?
She's overworking her staff and trying to push her ethics bill through.
Darkrai is Judas, which makes sense, I guess. Sorta. Messed up how they made my favorite one Judas.
Let's head back to the hideout and discuss the specifics of the calling card.
He was the one who betrayed Jesus, right?
Yeah,
I don't know my biblical lore.
Judas Iscariot. He betrayed Jesus for, I don't know, like 3 silver coins? Something nonsense like that.
Doesn't seem like very much.
For the calling card.
Maybe we should.
I think I might be underselling it a little bit.
I don't
But also
really
neither of them
know.
existed, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The real bad guy here is the one who took the bribe.
No, the guy who offered the bribe in the first place is the true villain.
Was it not the shoddy contractors who built the sculpture? And they deserve the most punishment.
You guys sound pretty heated.
Oh no, I just alienated our big religious audience. Why is Keanu Reeves in this video game?
So you were here all along.
Why is John Wick in a Persona game?
This is Inspector Zenkichi Hasegawa.
Inspector Jonathan Wick.
We're undecided whether or not we like him. I think I like him because he's a dork. But we don't know if he's a good guy or not.
Inspector Gadget.
So we're mean to him. See? You weren't invited.
Oh.
Oh, why the
Dang, dude. I'm gonna be honest.
forgot about me?
I'm super into, like, the
Contact with me.
outfits for that,
Now that you
former Pokemon game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I have...
Gramps, you completely slipped our minds.
I'm gonna need some, like, big shit
Maybe I'll
to be revealed
from getting
to
arrested.
actually be, like, super interested in Diamond and Pearl remakes at this point. Like, I was super interested in Pokemon Snap, and then, like,
Then the depression hit.
hmm
My eyes are watering so much because I'm about to sneeze.
Okay. We're not undecided. We don't like him.
No, but I kind of do like him. You and Sarah don't like him. But I kind of like him.
Okay, we're sorry.
With each passing day, I'm a little more annoyed that they made Diamond and Pearl look the way they did instead of looking like Let's Go or something.
Yeah.
If they really needed to keep that 2.5D aesthetic.
As to who was the worst of them all.
What's your take on it, Gramps?
My take is you kids are naive.
What do you mean?
It's clear that Mariko Hyodo was cornered by a pair of rotten scumbags. Tragic, I agree. But what is she doing in
I need a
response?
tissue.
Isn't it
Oh,
just as wrong
okay.
to change people's
There's
hearts
tissue
and
behind you.
manipulate them?
Can you give me one?
They're probably, I don't know. I feel like maybe Soul Silver is my favorite Pokemon game. Or my favorite somewhat modern one. Overall, it's either Yellow or Crystal. But I'm interested. It'd be cool if there was a fun collector's edition, because you know I'm all about those. But like,
Furthermore, that accident was her responsibility. Being that
I don't
she was
know.
a man.
I'm a little more ambivalent about it with each passing day. And it's not like, you know, if there's not a super impressive collector's edition or something that you have to snatch up right away, it's not like you're not going to be able to buy them.
But the real world
Yeah.
is so cut and dry.
It's like you can go out and buy Sword or Shield now, I would imagine. It's been 2
Yeah.
years.
Senkichi, that's
Or get it
horrible.
digitally.
Take it back.
Sorry. Might have
Like,
overstepped my
You know,
bounds.
they're coming out
No.
at a time this year that I know is going to be a rough time for me personally,
World
so.
isn't neatly divided into good and evil.
The fall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause you're-
If we give
Yep.
up now, then the people who are
When does that run out?
won't have any hope left.
October.
We help people in a way no one else can.
They would be coming out in November.
Phantom Thieves exist.
Oh.
I understand you all take this very seriously. Then tell me,
And that, and like, yeah,
you're not letting
you know, we're getting back to a point. We've got, like, our dollar is worth 82 cents American right now, or something like that. Almost 83 last time I checked.
Mari-san is doing his
That's not going to
best
change the price of
to
games.
under other people.
Which is wild, because, like, a Switch game
Reason.
is $59.99 in the States. It's $80 here.
Yes, we're gonna stop Hyodo. But
Even
what's
if the
the
dollar was
reason
1 for 1, it
for
would
that?
still be $80.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and a PS5 game, the majority, like the big deal games, are $90.
I have no objections.
Like, yeah, I want to play Demon's Souls. I kind of want to play Returnal,
So how will we send
Yeah,
the
but not for $90 plus
Send it
tax
over with some curry to the mayor's
on
office?
top of a $600 console.
If anything, it should be ramen.
Might be better to avoid closed spaces, actually. After all, she'll
That I
probably
don't
be
think is
outside prepping for the election.
visually very impressive.
There's no point sending a calling card if the target.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even like properly.
Can send it
Mhm.
somewhere on her campaign route.
It's wild.
Somewhere she's bound to pass by.
Every now and then, Amazon or somebody like screws up pricing and puts the US price for a game, and they do follow through on selling it at that price. But like, I don't know. I think that's a big part. Like this,
The question
you
is,
did not pay $80 plus tax for.
Oh, God.
It's a lot easier to
No, not again.
appreciate
Thanks in advance, Gramps.
a game that you didn't pay $92 for. You know, like $92 is a lot
Yeah, for being such a
for a game that,
Shouldn't you own up to it?
like,
There's no need to worry.
that's bonkers.
We'll be counting on you, Gramps.
There are very few games that I would say are worth $92. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't buy Bloodborne for $92,
All right, fine.
and that's probably like,
Damn calling card.
Well, you really do
it might be my favorite game ever made,
I'd let them twist my arm.
despite the fact that it runs at a
Whatever.
blazing fast 30 frames per second sometimes. 15 other times. Let me see here.
What are you looking for today? There's a sale happening. Now's your chance to shop.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good times. Yeah, like, Balan Wonderworld is an $80 game. If you go buy a copy of Balan Wonderworld for Switch at Walmart or Best Buy or Shoppers Drug Mart, that is the third place you go to for a video game if you can't find it at Walmart or Best Buy. I mean, you should, because generally speaking, you're actually going to get a way better deal with Optimum points and whatnot, or PC points or whatever. Oh, I guess it's PC Optimum. They're both now. I remember when the prices switched over from 59 to, like, I think there's a slow move up to 79 where they went 69 in between in Canada, but I could be wrong. Like, I feel like it wasn't that long ago. It was like Arkham Asylum time frame. Like, I'm sorry, I refuse to believe in a game being $80, $92 after tax in this particular province. I refuse to believe in that being the base price for games when a game like Balan Wonderworld is $92 fucking dollars. Like, the game is nothing more than a meme. It is, and not intentionally. If it was intentionally a meme, it might not be so bad, but it's just like a not great game. Why is it $92? Like, and it's the same thing with, like, you know, it's very rare that a game is so objectively across the board bad that anything happens, right? Like, I can only think of one time in my lifetime where a game was so bad, like a major released game, not like a Kickstarter or like some sort of indie game or whatever, but like a major, certainly AAA game was so poorly received that the publisher refunded it. Like, en masse. And it's Cyberpunk. Like, it's not that long ago. Even Fallout 76. I don't think there were, like, mass refunds in the same way as Cyberpunk. Like, Fallout 76, they did sort of, like, secretly allow you to refund over a much larger time frame than you normally would. And it was bought, like, directly through Bethesda, but when people realized that and started sort of publicizing it, they shut that whole thing down and weren't refunding people past the regular written in stone 2 hours of playtime or whatever, or 14 days of ownership, whatever it was. Or 48 hours of ownership? I don't know. Anyway. Rarely is a game that bad or that poorly received as to, like, really result in any meaningful action that benefits the consumer who spent, whether it's $60 in New Hampshire, like, tax-free, or $92 here, or, you know, there's a load of places in South America and Asia where it's just like, it seems like it's not that expensive, but based on what people make, it's wildly expensive. And sometimes it's just wildly expensive. Where they effectively are paying twice as much as even we do when we pay $91.99 or whatever it ends up being. I say $92 because it might as well be. I sort of lost my point. I'm ranting so much. Rarely does anything like good come of a bad game being $92, so it is very obnoxious to want to buy something and to see the price is, you know, your $79.99 plus tax, and then it ends up just being like not great. And I'm not sure what the solution to that is,
Different than expected.
because it's the same as like you pay $15 for a movie ticket and like maybe you see Citizen Kane, or maybe you see what's like an actually bad movie that's not so bad it's good. For the vast majority of people, if they saw Birdemic in a theater for $15, they would like remove their eyeballs then and there.
This.
So, you know, again, it's like, even for the vast majority of people, you know, vast majority of people are going to love like an Endgame sort of scenario. Or an Avatar. Like, everybody went to that. Or a Star Wars. Or whatever.
The singular Star Wars.
Yeah, like imagine like that, and that's the difference. And like sometimes, yeah, you can scream at the movie theater manager and get a refund if you didn't like the movie, but like, how many people actually do that?
Registered in its present condition. You wish to strengthen it.
It's hard to,
This is what you.
you know, the market kind of fluctuates, and games that are
Okay.
selling poorly often find themselves on sale pretty quickly. Fallout 76 certainly did. It got to the point where you were just getting Fallout 76 for free if you walked into a store and would purchase any other product. They just wanted to
Your new
get rid of them. But pricing, like this, it's the same as with like, you know, the fines for ignoring public health orders and not wearing masks, or
wish to strengthen.
having 1,000 people in your home or whatever. Like, a flat rate, there's so, like, I see how a flat rate works, but there's so many reasons to be like, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think... I don't think Balan Wonderworld is as good a game as Cyberpunk 2077, and I don't think that's as good a game as Breath of the Wild, all things considered, in terms of actual function. But, like, they all cost the exact same on release day.
Performing a
Now,
fusion.
with that being said, I think like Super Nintendo and 64 games were like $100 plus in Canada. So. For a minute there, looked at some old Sears catalogs.
May luck be on your side.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, Nintendo doesn't do that though. It's the craziest thing. Like, it happens occasionally. They do it a little more often now, but like only by like $20 or $30. But there's some games it's so crazy. Like, yeah, like Breath of the Wild. Okay, what is it? Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I think. Donkey Kong Country
I'll just add this.
Tropical Freeze. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was a Wii U game that has since been ported, like almost every first-party Wii U game and every Wii U game that mattered, to Switch. As far as I understand, it has never reduced in price. The initial release date for the Wii U version was 2014, and for Switch it came out in 2018. It has been 3 years, and every time I see, like, you know, they occasionally do a sale that includes Mario Party for sure. I think Odyssey was included in the most recent one. Luigi's Mansion went on sale just before Christmas last year. So we got it for my sister. So some of them will go on sale. Mario Kart, never. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze somehow never. I understand why Smash doesn't, but like, and for the same reason why Mario Kart doesn't. Like, now meanwhile on PC I can play all of this stuff often for free. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And like,
And so can Catherine by proxy.
yeah, Steam sales are just, or humble or fanatical, which is where we bought this,
Thanks for being here.
are often like wildly broken. I mean, this, to be fair, has been on sale for everything quite a few times. Like, there have been a couple opportunities to buy it for 50 Canadian for Switch, PS4.
It didn't quite occur to
So,
me
like-
who she was, but the moment she called me Haru-chan, suddenly, the
Ah.
lid popped open in my mind.
It's just, it's wild that
I remembered all these things about my
it's
childhood.
the video game market price-wise is wild.
Messed up.
And the fact that it's only getting more expensive?
Yeah, like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like a lot of game. There's a real, like, again, I get it. People need to get paid.
When I realized
Um,
the times we spent together, and the moment he passed away,
but like, I just can't understand being the kind of person,
at some point,
and I know these people exist, who absolutely have to have like all the new games on release day. Like,
thanks for understanding.
you know, it's a little different than when Best Buy would have like their E3 thing and I would pre-order all the games that I thought I would be interested in and, you know, cancel them later on if I changed my mind, or if as more was revealed about the game, it seemed like I wasn't actually going to be interested in it. And if I did keep it and they shipped it too late for it to show up on release day, sometimes I wanted the game bad enough that, or Amazon sometimes too would be where I got it. Whoever was doing the best E3 deal. Sometimes I would buy it in person and then return the sealed copy that showed up in the mail, but like, it's not really that different. But like,
no matter how many times you fall, you can always get
even
back
then,
up.
that was only for very specific games.
Can you believe it? I didn't
But that's not what
back then.
a lot of people are doing. Like, a lot of people are
There's more to good character than kindness. Being good means dealing
buying
with the bad
$90 and
part of it.
$100
It
games
means the
day
biggest
up.
thing.
You know, people are taking fucking cash money loans to buy the new Call of Duty because
Yeah.
they can't wait for their paycheck at the end of the week.
Mm-mm. And yes, this is about Haru.
Nice of you. She is strong.
I have you and the Phantom
She only
Menace
looks
to thank
like
for that.
she would crack under the pressure of lifting a large book.
But it's not too late for Mari-san.
She fights with a battle axe, thank you very much.
It's true, I'm just saying she has very thin arms.
Mhm.
161 likes, boys. We're in the end game now.
Haru would stop someone who's rude to her. Yeah, Catherine, you kind of like missed the whole first part of Haru's arc that was in Persona 5, like vanilla/royal, where her father tried to sell her off in an arranged marriage and then he got murdered and like, you know. That,
Yeah,
Haru's had a rough go of things.
little rough. Probably one of the rougher. I mean, like I like On and Makoto, and whatever, but you know, neither of them. Well,
An had a pretty damn rough go of things, thanks.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
Her friend jumped off the roof and tried to kill herself, so like,
Yeah, that's fine, but that was something that happened like totally ancillary to her, right? Like, if On didn't exist, a lot of that stuff would have still happened.
right. If Haru didn't exist, she couldn't have been
Yeah.
sold into an arranged marriage for political reasons to a guy who also was emotionally and physically abusive to her.
Yeah, like, Haru went through some very Haru-centric bad things, not to, you know, not to undervalue what On went through and experienced and whatever, but like I think Haru certainly has the most like
Haru wins the pain game.
not even the like not necessarily the pain game, but I certainly would agree that playing through Persona 5 the first time and the second time and the third time and the fourth time, Haru's was always the one that I was like, oh, this is extremely uncomfortable. This is really like the one that
The worst of them.
this is like real, like they're all real bad. It's like nobody in Persona 5 gets like, oh, you know, I just didn't really fit in a little bit. You know, like nobody gets that story. And like, you know, between 4 and 5.
Like, I know you like 4 the best.
Yeah, and I think 4 is a little bit lighter. Like, it's not quite as like balls to the wall, arranged marriage, sell off my daughter, you know, extort a high school girl over photos that I have of her, or like gym teacher doing unkind and very unteacherly things to female students. Like, none of that stuff really happens. Like, that's not happening so much in Persona 4. So like, it's very 5 really turned it up to 11.
Yeah, like, isn't Chie's whole story in Persona 4 basically like her codependent relationship with Yukiko?
That, and like there's some stuff about it depends on how you go, how like what direction you take, right? Like she is very like tomboy, and that's sort of part of the thing. So like she has issues with identifying with female stuff or feminine stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, there's certainly a part of Chie that is like, because she's the boyish friend of goddamn Yukiko, like that's certainly
It's part of it.
And like, you know, like by comparison, you know, the people who have the 2 closest names, right? Like, aside from Makoto and Makoto, Yosuke and Yusuke. You know, like, one of them, their mother was, like, abused by this old man and had her painting stolen and she's dead. And the other one, like, it turns out a girl didn't like him as much as he thought she might have.
And then she died.
Yeah, but, like
baby shit problems compared to these problems.
it's different, right? Like, it's not like, it's like if you know, Ann's friend jumped off a building. Okay, fine, that's really bad. What if it was just a person at Ann's school? Like, there's a different, like, that's not a it's like that thing that always happens, and this is really unfortunate to say, but if someone in a high school setting, you know, if something bad happens to them, and I'll leave it up to, you know, what that bad might be, because there are many bad things that can happen to a high school student. Something bad happens to them, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we were the greatest friends, like, he or she or they was such an incredible, lovely person, we were friends for years, and it's like, never spoken to them once, you know, like that kind of thing. It's different. It would be, Ann's story would be a whole lot different if she was like, yeah, this girl I went to school with, that I never really spoke to, jumped off a building, and like, that's just destroying my entire life now. That's destroying my entire personality. And if it's for any reason other than like the philosophical existential crisis that at any time you can just like jump off a building and nothing's stopping you,
that crisis.
Then if it's for any reason other than that, it seems kind of vapid, right? And that's the problem, is like, yeah, okay, the girl didn't like you that much, dude, and like, I'm sorry that you're the new kid, and you're having difficulties adjusting with that in this small town, and you're used to the big city. But I'm sorry it's difficult for you, but like, the girl didn't like you that much, and unfortunately she did then die, but like, she wasn't your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very sad. It is sad that she died, but you don't get to pretend that like you were in a long-term romantic relationship with this person and her death is like tearing the core of your person out of you, like shattering your soul to bits. Yeah, it's like there is a difference in terms of like the weight of it. Like, yeah, it is sad. Don't get me wrong, but like Persona 4, I think part of why I like Persona 4 more, depending on the day, is like Persona 4, it's sad and there's like, you know, there's interpersonal relationships and you feel emotions and whatnot, but like at no point are you like, oh my god, like this gym teacher is like, is doing that? Or like, this man is selling his daughter to a multi-dimensional abusive sociopath. Or, you know, like, 5 really turns
Like
it up.
one of my friends is doing hits and murders.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny though that Persona 4, which is definitely a more lighthearted game comparatively,
Certain.
got sandwiched between Persona 5, which we're talking about, and then Persona 3, which is literally like, we accept death, and then it comes for us all at the end.
You know,
Smushed between the two extremes.
and like sometimes it is just like there are similar story beats, right? Like there's a social link in 4 that is just the same as a confidant in 5 in terms of like, you know, there's some little differences, but it's like parent having a difficult time understanding their kid. Difficult parent and child relationship.
You're talking about like the EY? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's EY in 5, and in 4 it's like this woman who married a rich man and he's never around and she's a stepmom now and the kid is like, you know? Like,
Yeah, so
it's super, super similar. So there's still that kind of stuff, but like, you could be talking out my ass here. Maybe I don't remember like the deeply destructively sad parts of, you know, like, I'm not saying I don't love Yukiko with every fiber of my being.
Do you love her more than me?
I mean, like, you know, as the way you love a fictional character.
I know.
The way I love Michael Myers, who is a fictional serial killer, you know?
No, I know.
Not saying that, like, Yukiko isn't a great character or whatever. And the reason most of the internet thinks that is probably different to the reason I think it. But anyway, but, like, you know, Yukiko is trying to deal with, you know, what she wants to do with her life, whether that's take over the family business or not. And that's a really, you know, hand-wringingly unfair way to put it, sure, but again, Yukiko's mom isn't selling her. You know? Yukiko's mom is like, okay, do what you want. Like, you know, get it, queen?
They're a lot, like, despite the fact that they fight shadows in an alternate dimension,
Yeah.
the character arcs of Persona 4 are a lot more realistic to, like, actual teenager struggles.
Yeah, like, this is, I get it. I'm not saying it's bad, you know, like, I'm sure some teenagers, I'm sure some teenagers have I know, in fact, some teenagers have incredibly dark experiences like this. I don't think a group of 7 to 10 teenagers who know each other have all these disparate dark experiences. You know?
No.
Like, it's not quite that level.
Yeah.
His dad sold her to One Direction.
I don't have a heart.
Haru, you light up my life like nobody. See, it's easy. They sold the rights to her name.
Okay.
you, it may seem like a simple concept to you, but to me, it makes my mind go. But I am humanity's companion. I am here to learn and grow.
Stole that from the movie Her.
I love Sophia. She's so innocent and fresh.
Today, everyone, are we ready to make Sapporo a paradise's purest?
Fresh is a very weird way to describe a person. That is an adjective I would like for you not to use. Because, like, what's the opposite? Stale? Rot?
Whoa, it's real.
Yeah,
He's a
like,
really stale guy.
yeah, like stale and cynical and fresh as in like new to the world and trying to understand it. Childlike wonder.
I would never call a child fresh. I would call Will Smith fresh.
I will call children fresh.
Fresh in a sense, I suppose.
We find this unforgivable.
Sense I really am comfortable with.
In fact, we will
It's your kids here. Fresh kids.
This is
That's what the doctors say in the hospital. There's just an old-timey doctor with a newsboy cap standing outside of the...
She Angie.
Oh no. Why is her shadow...
She became Ursula.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's just one doctor who stands outside of the door to the NICU with his newspaper boy cap on. Fresh kids here? Get your fresh kids, but only if they're biologically or legally yours.
perhaps I should gobble you up.
See? Had to put that in there so it wouldn't be...
Why are you standing
biologically and or legally.
stretching things down?
They can be both,
Wait for us,
or one or
Marissa.
the other.
It'll all be over soon.
Although I guess if they're only biologically yours and not legally, probably you shouldn't be taking...
I It's not her mom. Her mom's already dead.
Yeah, Haru's an orphan.
Okay.
Now then.
Bet $1 for every time I explored jail. Sorry, Haru, we're gonna kill your mom, Redux. That was a really good album, actually.
This is what I want. Me and the girls.
Me and the...
That's what the party is.
I know. Girls' night.
We need to change Mari-san's heart.
Now that's what I call Kill Your Mom, Volume 37. Oh, Killing Your Mom bop. And what I really want is a nice, good 4K Twilight Princess. Make it happen.
That's what.
Just want a Switch release.
I know, right?
Because if there's a Switch release, you can play it in Yuzu and probably
This.
make it look like it. I'm not gonna lie, I think this might be an unpopular opinion. This is my favorite temple in Twilight Princess.
It's not my favorite, but it was good.
Like,
My favorite's Fire, because that's where you get the arrows.
they let you have soup. It's the only time I've been excited for soup.
I believe that.
Sorry about the
I think the
here to kick ass and
I think the boss was kind of fun. Vampire Ice Ursula is pretty cool.
That couldn't be Mari-san.
Yeah, I liked that whole
What on earth
area of Twilight Princess, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of Snow Peak was super.
I just hated those ice skeleton monsters that throw the spears at you.
My favorite is the Temple with the Monkeys, because it's the only one I've ever played. I mean, if you've only got one option.
This is wrong, Mari-san. Those votes
Well, hopefully it comes out for Switch and you can play the best Zelda game.
It is really good.
don't at me.
No, I agree with you.
Twilight Princess, the game that gets far more shit than it deserves. Maybe second only to Skyward Sword in terms of getting far more shit than it deserves.
Skyward Sword gets way more shit than it ever deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the remake of that. When did Skyward Sword come out again?
June?
That's soon.
I know when I tried to pre-order those Joy-Cons, it was like a June release. Oh.
Mhm.
July 16th.
July 16th, okay.
Listen to him.
I like that Skyward Sword is now going to be able to be played by people whose only issue with Skyward Sword was motion controls. Who can be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad a Zelda game.
Mhm. Oh, I love it. Like, I love the story of Skyward Sword.
I love the motion controls. I don't think it's, like, absolutely incredible. I don't think it's top 5, but I also don't think it's, like, the horrible redheaded stepchild of the Zelda series that everyone wants you to believe it is.
Yeah, like, I think Fi or Fee or whatever holds your hand a little too much, but, like, yeah, it's linear. It's very, very linear, but the environments and the storytelling is so, like, special and enjoyable and wonderful.
I don't think it's going to have nearly the same, like, resurgence in popularity that Wind Waker had. Wind Waker, prior to Twilight Princess existing, when Wind Waker was, like, the most recent Zelda, Wind Waker was, like, the most divisive since Zelda 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, linear story is fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, like,
I don't have a problem with linearity.
the quality of the story.
The fuck is going on with
I love this. This is a perfect design. The quality of the story is what matters. If it's linear or multi-branching, like, just like whatever story you're trying to tell, if it's a good story and it's told in the best way for that story to be told, or at least like a more than competent way or whatever, like, I got no issues. Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes, like again, Breath of the Wild is the only one that's not fully, totally linear. And then the ones I can think of that are also not linear almost don't have a story, right? Like, you can sequence break NES Zelda, like the very first Zelda, you can sequence break that like nobody's business. Like, there are very few times that you have to go to a particular dungeon. And sometimes you can go like halfway through it, get the item, and then just leave and not finish it. Link Between Worlds has a little bit of nonlinearity to it. A good amount more than most Zelda games. But like, I think the best criticisms of Skyward Sword that I've heard that actually felt like they were in good faith were just like, genuinely, motion controls don't do it for me. And I really couldn't get into it because of the motion controls. And it's like, you know what? I loved them. Loved them in Twilight Princess when they weren't nearly as fleshed out. Loved them in Skyward Sword. But if you didn't, totally understand. But the vast majority of Zelda games are just like, you know, go do the things in almost the exact same order as anyone else who's going to play this game. And that's fine. You know, I think there are a good amount of people who would say Skyward Sword was bad for the same reasons that they think Ocarina of Time is the greatest game to have ever been made. They would be wrong on both counts. And just not internally consistent. I hate and love this design like nobody's business. Yeah, like there's only so much you can do, quote unquote, out of order in most of them. It's, I don't know, I think it's like, I like this. I like that they have little avatars for the personas. Like it's just not, you know, Breath of the Wild did non-linearity pretty well, I would say. But like, I don't know, it's just not. I don't think it would necessarily be yeah, just deliver whatever story you're delivering and what you think is the best way for that story. And like, look at it this way. There's not that much difference in terms of how the story is delivered in Breath of the Wild compared to how it's delivered in Ocarina of Time. Like, really. There are certain things you have to do. Charlotte, did you know all your friends are dead?
I didn't. Thank you for...
Like, there's a lot of stuff in Ocarina of Time once you get to a certain point where it really doesn't matter the order in which it's delivered to you, right? Like, certain events need to happen at certain times, I guess. But certainly, even when you get to, like, excuse me, the future in Ocarina of Time, if they allowed it, you could do almost all that stuff in whatever order. I mean, you can sequence break Ocarina of Time a little bit. But, you know, I could imagine a version of Ocarina of Time that is non-linear to some extent, just as I could imagine a version of Breath of the Wild that is linear. And I don't think Breath of the Wild being non-linear is really what makes Breath of the Wild good or interesting.
Why am I so slow?
You are cold, and cold people are slow, apparently. You can do it. Oops. Like, you know, I think like Breath of the Wild is two things that happen to exist at the same time. It's both open world and non-linear. Those aren't like required to be together, right? Like, there are lots of open world games that have a linear main story. Grand Theft Auto basically invented it with Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, invented it. Popularized it. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, like, open... You are 100% correct that the vast majority of people, and like, I'm not saying I'm innocent of it, but the vast majority of people, every few years or so, pick the buzzword that means the most to them right now, and that's what they go with. And that's like how Kickstarter works. Like, video games get funded on Kickstarter significantly, if not almost entirely, because of the buzzwords they've chosen. Like, for a while there, when Minecraft was huge, crafting. If your game had crafting, crafting was the buzzword. You know? Every game. I've watched so many, like, terrible, terrible Kickstarter project reviews or overviews or whatever. Primarily when it came to like game ones, Retsupre used to do them. When Retsupre did anything. And like, I can't tell you how many times a person was like, basically what I'm making is like Final Fantasy VI, but with crafting. And it's like, not every game needs to have crafting. Like, if it doesn't make sense in your game, don't just put crafting in because Minecraft is the hip thing right now, you know? Or like, whatever Fortnite does. Like, there are open world games that are bad because they are open world. Can't think of one off the top of my head, but... because it's like... you know, there are probably games... I'm aware of some and can't think of names. But like... oh yeah, like, exactly, that's what I... like, there's something to be said about a game that actually, like, tells you a story in a way that you can be attached to for a significant amount of time, right? Like, without... without getting distracted. Like, side quests are one thing, but, like, when you're just distracted by walking around and you forget to do the main stuff... it's... I've had so many instances of that where, like... with, like a... Ubisoft games are terrible for it, or at least they were when I was still playing them more often. I think the more recent Assassin's Creed games have kind of fixed this a little bit, but, like... the side quests and the collectibles in this huge, sprawling world, but, like... there's so many games that are a huge, sprawling world with nothing in it. Yeah. I don't know, I feel like I could get into Inquisition. But, like, 1 and 2, I think are just... oh. Oops. Well, that sucks. I can see that though, because like I think unfortunately a lot of the games that I end up being kind of attracted to end up being that kind of game, and I don't realize it until it's too late. Dragon Age, I mean, they're developed by the same people, right? Dragon Age 1 and 2 are just too much like KOTOR to me, and as much as I wanted to get into the KOTOR games, I never could. And I tried with Old Republic 2, and I just couldn't.
Each of these things grieved you, and in order to make a city where none of it could reoccur, you took action as you saw fit. Am I right?
Hmm.
As the mayor, I know
It's
very
true.
well that little girl's death was ultimately my fault.
Like, I think more games suffer from needing to be open world than benefit from being open world.
Unfortunately, it wasn't as simple as that. Had I gone, I'd only be replaced by greedy scum. That's why I never stepped down. In this world, it's either eat or be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
And with circumstances so cruel, I decided I'd be the one doing the eating.
It's weird, like, and sometimes it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot... Skyrim is like an excellent game. I really enjoyed Skyrim. I loved my time with Skyrim. It was a huge open world. I'm sure I missed like 60% of what you can do. And it is a lot of the time, like, it feels empty, and yet I have good memories of Skyrim, right?
Then can you get a fresh start? But this time on your
Like, a lot of the time what you're doing is like traversing an insanely large amount of land. Like, yeah, there's enemies, but like,
That way I could continue being
oh,
mayor. There's nothing I can do.
mm-hmm.
Stand up, Mariko Hyodo! Are you just going to stay knocked down? You are a kind and strong woman, not someone who collapses hold your head up high, because no matter how many times you fall, you can
Mm.
always get back
Ow.
up and start again.
Isn't that
Yes, you said that to me a long time ago. Even if you told the people the truth about the incident, there are those
Like-
who would still see the good in you. Don't let your position ruin you. Stick to what you stood
No.
for.
she's
Um,
there? You can't give up.
Like, what would an open world Mario game be like, you know? Like, some games just don't work.
When my
Yeah.
father died,
Like, Mario's
I thought
levels.
my heart was going to break.
Zelda is dungeons.
Phantom thieves, I was able to stand strong and move
And I think that's the other thing, like,
That's why I know you
I'm
can
so...
too. Remember the part of
I'm
you
so
that
unable to
no
accept,
matter how many times
personally, the idea that Breath of the Wild is the best Zelda game,
Right. Thank you, Haruka.
because, like,
I've done. What I drove my
I don't know.
impulse to break and used a strange power to manipulate
I do still have some reservations about, like,
by my personal agenda. I lost
how much I really just liked what was happening right up until Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild's not like a bad game or anything. It's a great game. It was really enjoyable. It was fun, but
home where I was raised. That's reason enough to take another.
maybe it's just really what it comes down to is that there were no like real dungeons.
This power from the start.
Like it never felt like I had a nice.
Haruchan.
It didn't have a nice complete dungeon feel
Your father must be so happy in heaven.
at any point. Otherwise, like
Mari-san,
I don't think open world. I think open world lends itself a lot better to Zelda than it would to like fucking Mario. I'll put it that way.
Oh yeah.
Like if they just had full actual dungeons, I think, and I really hope that's what they do for the follow up. Because the funny thing is, like Breath of the Wild comes after
Haru.
Skyward Sword, that had some of the like the most creative dungeon mechanics.
It was only because you were all with me. But
Mhm.
I do wonder if Mari-san will be okay.
I'd say so. Her shadow disappeared like they always do.
Yeah, your feelings definitely.
Very much so. I mean, like,
I'm sure her heart has changed. For
you know,
the
like
better. Well, I guess
Majora's Mask and
we still need to confirm that
Wind
this
Waker
is all back
or Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess have so little in common in terms of what you're actually doing. You know?
Can we grab something to eat first?
Oh, I don't know. I think
Has a point.
I guarantee you
On an empty stomach.
it won't be called Breath of the Wild 2.
But still,
I think it'll be Breath of the Wild 2 in the sense that Majora's Mask is Ocarina of Time 2. I think when they put Breath of the Wild 2 on that trailer, I think it was only to like...
They literally called it a sequel to Breath of the Wild. They didn't call it.
Did they not even call it Breath of the Wild 2?
They
Is that a
didn't.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
See, my memory's terrible. I think that's just something people are... It's just like a shorthand, right? It's gonna be called something else. I genuinely don't... Like, even Zelda 2 was The Adventure of Link.
Yeah, and like Phantom Hourglass is a very clear sequel to Wind Waker, but it's not called Wind Waker 2.
And Spirit Tracks is a very muddy sequel to that.
Spirit Tracks. I never finished it. I got stuck on a level in the tower and I never finished it.
Hey, can we
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. Some games you can't have a train in.
That's a
And it turns out Zelda doesn't lend well to trains.
I thought we were finally getting lobster hot.
Mostly a joke. The concept is phenomenal. Like, I'm a Majora's Mask zealot, let me tell you.
If you think about
I have had fights
Did you
over...
send them the mask already?
No
I think I did.
Isn't it
I'm pretty sure.
barbecue? Well, cooking Jinkies
Yeah, but all Zelda music slaps.
called a Jinkies Gun pot. And you can't barbecue in a pot.
Not like objectively bad Zelda music as far as I know. You could put a Zelda soundtrack on anything.
Its etymology does refer to grilling. I wonder why. Does it even
Yeah,
matter?
like Koji Kondo cannot make bad music, I refuse to believe.
Hey, was that a smile just now?
Which is that's another thing, right? Like the games can be like Phantom Hourglass. I really don't think is that great a game. Spirit Tracks, I think, is a much worse game than that. Like
I'm relieved to
it's
hear
still
that.
Zelda
I
music.
thought you might be weighed down by all that's
Even Spirit Tracks music was like excellent.
She was so weighed down that she met up with our leader for a private midnight chat.
Huh? Were you watching?
Hey, Catherine, congratulations for actually fucking understanding what it's meant to impart on you. Oh my god. Do you know how many people are like, no, I refuse to play Majora's Mask because there's a time limit? Like, that's the point, honey bunch. Like, I've had arguments with fucking adults that, like, it's a time limit, but, like, if you know what you're doing, it almost barely matters. Like, I'm at the point where Majora's Mask actually doesn't really have a time limit for me. You know, and there's something to be said for, like, it's totally artificial, but for a new player, for someone who's not, like, again, a Majora's Mask zealot who's like, yeah, I'll pay $100 for a box copy of Majora's Mask for N64, that seems reasonable, I like it that much.
For an N64 we don't have.
Yeah, I had an N64, just not here. If you're not that person, if you're just going into Majora's Mask for the first time, or like, you know, like, right. It's so wild that your reaction is like the actual reaction that the game is built for, and 90% of people's reaction is like, oh, but that makes it hard, and I don't like that.
I'm glad they're back to their senses.
Like, there really is a difference between Ocarina of Time people and Majora's Mask people.
Show how powerful a monarch's influence.
Because Ocarina of Time never puts a time limit on things, and it's like,
Hey, guess what? Kyoto-san's holding a press conference.
that's where all those, genuinely, if you ask a person what their favorite N64 Zelda is, like, don't open it up to all of the Zeldas, because, like, you know, I'm pretty sure Majora's Mask is my favorite, but maybe it's Twilight Princess, depending on what day it is. If you ask a person what their favorite N64 Zelda is, people who say Ocarina of Time are just afraid of a timer that means very little. That's wildly oversimplifying it, but...
Like, I think we need to respect the place that Ocarina of Time has in terms of, like, how it developed Zelda as a series, but I don't think that is a reason to say that it's a better game.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, like, let's talk about story. Like, Ocarina of Time, at the end of the day, again, hand-wringingly basic, overgeneralized thing to say, but it's like, oh, it's a damsel in distress story. Like, Majora's Mask, I mean, I guess Navi is a damsel in distress, technically, if you think that's what Link is doing, like, he's trying to find Navi, who left at the end of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, but even, like, damsel in distress story, like, Skyward Sword was a damsel in distress story, and they still did, like, so much more with it, story-wise, than Ocarina of Time did.
Exactly. Whereas Majora's...
Wind Waker was a damsel in distress story. They did more with it story-wise than Ocarina of Time did. Like, Ocarina of Time's story is...
It has that horrifying, like, almost gasoline plastic smell. I love it.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time's story feels muted to me. Like, it always has felt muted.
Well, Skyward Sword, correct me if I'm wrong, is not so much a damsel in distress as, like... Catherine makes a great point. Like, it's not so much that she's a damsel in distress, because she hasn't been, like, immediately at the beginning, like in a lot of Zelda, or pretty early on, a lot of Zelda games, like, kidnapped by Ganon or whoever. Like, in that one, she's trying to do her Destiny stuff.
Right.
Yeah. She's going to the different places and playing her harp and whatnot with Impa.
But, like, you don't know that.
Yeah.
As Link. But again, like, they took what could have been a damsel in distress story, and they made it into something
more.
more.
To it than that. She has agency. She's not just, like, an object inside a crystal.
Yeah, and, like, that's the point. Is like, that is the Zelda formula. Is, like, damsel in distress story is part of what Zelda's formula is. But you can do a lot more with it than Ocarina of Time did. But Ocarina of Time still has its place and should still be respected as having its place as like, being something so formative.
If Ocarina of Time didn't happen, of course Majora's Mask wouldn't have happened. But...
Right. but it doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean it's
Does
better.
she actually end up in a crystal in Skyward Sword?
Yes.
God damn. Every goddamn game, guys. Stop putting her in a crystal. Stop putting a woman in a crystal, Mr. Miyamoto. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, we did get Sheik with Ocarina of Time. But even so, like, they really did not do very much with Sheik's character. Like, Sheik just showed up. And was like, I'm this mysterious person that gives you bits of information every once in a while. Like, there's so much more that could have been done.
And I mean, look, it's a little egregious in 2021 to be like, wow, why did Ocarina of Time not be a better game?
Yeah, it came out in, what, 1998?
Something like that, yeah. Like,
That's what I mean. Like, for the time, it is a wonderful game and was absolutely the best of its time.
compared to what was coming out at the time,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, realistically, all I'm saying is that, like, okay, but Ocarina of Time fan people, just take into account that, like, a year and a bit later, they released goddamn Majora's Mask.
Yeah. And the fact
Like-
that they were able to do that with the mechanic and the storytelling and, like, figure out how to make what essentially was and still is a masterpiece in a year.
Like, a major mechanic. Yeah. You see, factually stating how long she was prime minister is a major diss.
Think of me as
It,
being
like,
who's earned your trust, but in truth,
the
there's plenty.
amount they did,
There's no sculpture that
because the groundwork was already done to make a 3D Zelda game on the N64, and because they reused all the assets and all that stuff, because they had that leg up, the amount they did to craft just a brilliant story
ended up collapsing.
and, like, couch it in this wild mechanic of, like, the whole world will end in 3 days, so hurry it up, dipshit.
I could save my
And, like, making you deal with that and, like,
votes I didn't deserve in order to stay on.
yeah,
I've
that's
allowed everyone to
that's
protect
true.
myself and covered it
What?
up by allowing
He is my sleep paralysis
I
demon.
am among the guilty.
There's just something, it hits so different.
That little girl, she died because of me.
It's so different.
Too.
As such, I will
Imagine the
always
technology to give a small boy depression.
my full assistance. And again, I will use my intellectual
Oh, I don't have to.
as me.
I am just a small boy. Her suit jacket is one of the ones where, like,
Kyoto-san's made up
the
her mind.
floral vine sort of stuff is definitely, like, velour or, like, suede, right?
Good
Probably.
question.
Yoda was afraid that if she wasn't the mayor, she couldn't protect her people.
For a second, I thought
The truth and made
Taba
her
was wearing
protect
socks and
the land,
sandals.
But she was concerned about other
God.
evils potentially lurking in the shadows.
I think this turned out for the best.
Remember that one time when I said I like Makoto and you say, of course you like Makoto, she's just you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ichi is on the line.
Hey, you guys see Hyodo's press conference?
Exactly. It's super, super brilliant. Like, again, I don't think that works in the vast majority of games, but it really does. Like, it takes the sense of dread that's already there, and it just, like, really cements it.
If you want, I can open up some time for you to talk to her. Just tell me where you want to meet.
Because, like, realistically speaking, the calamity that's going to happen if you don't win in any given Zelda game is pretty bad. Like, it's not literal planet destruction bad, but it's pretty bad. So, like, you should always be feeling some sense of dread. But to, like,
When I became mayor,
do it on a Majora's
I wanted to
Mask level?
protect the city and everyone in it as if they were my own family.
Chef's kiss.
I remembered that feeling. Thanks to
Now,
you,
Zelda 2.
I've finally been
That's
able
a brilliant
to
video
love
game.
myself, and I realized that
I
I
know
was
that.
doing a horrible disservice to that girl. I had lost sight of reality.
Yeah.
Acting self-righteous.
Mari-san.
It's like, it's hilarious how trivial it is to
No, it's the truth. Had I
like
gone,
almost get rid of that 3-day timer. Like, you know, not totally trivial, but it's funny how many people make that the hill they die on when it comes to like, I don't like Majora's Mask, or I won't play Majora's Mask,
this city,
when it's like,
my family.
it's the best part of the game thematically and conceptually,
Passing must have caused you
as like a
so much
unique
turmoil.
differentiation from any other Zelda game, and also like it's not that
You in the future, any way
like
I can be,
experience endingly
ask.
potent.
I say this because you're a precious part of my family too.
Thank you so much, Mari-san.
Oh, Haru-chan.
I'm happy for you, Haru. Hmm.
Which is to say, people are dumb.
I suppose I must get going. Though I am concerned about the state of
Mhm.
affairs I've left.
The
this
only
city.
thing I wish is
I'll
that
leave it
like
up to my successor. An
I wish it would have
arrogant bitch like
ever
me
happened
has
again,
never
like
seen
something
me.
like Majora's
Does
Mask.
that mean you won't be involved in politics anymore?
Yes. I'm
The
too
mask
ashamed to
thing
show
is
my
super
face.
bonkers.
And at my age, there are plenty of younger folks who can. Mayor. You're.
I saw the news. So you're resigning,
Like the
and you're leaving politics for good?
That's right.
I
promised
love
to
the
step
hook shot more than
never-
anything else in the Zelda universe, and yet,
Won't bring her back. In fact,
Gaunt Woman.
change
Well,
Oh.
Woman might be her married name.
my daughter.
Hey, shouldn't we get in there?
Hold that thought a moment.
No one knows what her
So you
maiden
can.
name was. Gaunt something.
Can't just run away. You need to start.
It's like in Sonic 06, middle-aged man. He's my favorite Sonic character.
When I was weeping with rage and grief, you stood there and cried with me. Instead of running away, you were there when I needed someone the most. I know your character more than anyone.
Ma'am. Thank you for sharing your heart with me. Then I promise to both you and your daughter, I will stand back up and become your mayor again.
Mari-san. Hmm.
You
I
know,
don't get it.
I'm not here to like clown on the women's fashion
Maybe
industry or
since that
anything,
moment,
but
everyone is kind
that is a massive belt for a pair of shorts that small.
and kind.
It is.
How would you describe
The
this?
proportions there are wild.
I see. So that's why Haru helped
Meanwhile, Haru's belt is kinda tiny.
into happiness.
No, that makes sense.
Learning valuable data.
Like, but like given,
Learn
like by comparison, you know?
Yeah. Haru's outfit and Makoto's outfit,
Girl who passed
excellent.
Haru's belt is regular sized,
really understood Hyogo's
but like with On in the same scene, it looks like Haru's belt is for babies.
reminded me of what
Mhm.
Haru said in jail.
Makoto looks like she's about to twist an ankle.
Like that? Hey, that was a
Yeah, that's a very anime way to stand.
connected. Yeah, but you
I mean,
made it
Haru
so
kinda looks like she has bowed legs, but opposite of bowed, like
Yeah. It's because her knee is bent.
a concave instead of convex.
Could you please forget it already?
Indeed, truly moving.
You did good. It really was touching.
Wow. You're right, Haru's belt is decorative.
That is true. That too, like, let's all wear shirts. How about that, folks?
Nice.
Maybe we wear a shirt. Maybe like, you know, if a real teenage girl wants to wear what On's wearing right now, you know, good for her or whatever. Girl power. But also, like, maybe in the video game, the character could wear a full shirt because the character is fictional. And we don't need to sexualize the anime girl.
Mm-hmm.
Because Because, like, the internet's gonna do that for you anyway.
You've seen On's cat suit.
Yeah.
Anne's cot suit. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, should we ask Futaba or Ryuji to go on the Ferris wheel with us?
I don't know.
Yeah, but she does it well. Okay, Ryuji.
I could use your assistance.
What are you gonna do?
Also, can we have some sleeves on Ryuji's shirt, please? Can we not sexualize the male arm? Mostly a joke, I don't care.
We're gonna go with the boys.
Yes.
Like, the internet's gonna sexualize On for you. The internet's gonna sexualize every character.
I'm glad we picked the guys to go with because they definitely would have made it like weird and like romantically charged if I'd picked one of the girls to ride the Ferris wheel with.
Mm-hmm.
Yusuke would hold our hands if we got scared though.
He's a good boy.
And Ryuji. I feel like Ryuji wouldn't hold our hands, but he would give us a hug, like a bro hug.
They are good boys in different ways.
Yes.
Like, you put On's head on a block of cement, I promise you, the internet will sexualize that. Or any of them.
Makoto too. All of them.
Haru, Futaba.
They'll sexualize Futaba, and that's the weird one of all of them. Like, that one's the weirdest because she is a baby.
The internet's gonna sexualize every female character you create, even if it's just you decapitate them and leave them alive, like the dude in God of War. Like, the internet's gonna find a way to sexualize them. You don't need to do it yourself in the game.
Ryuji's having a crisis.
Hey, Ryuji? There's nothing
wrong with this, my friend.
Hey, fellas. Is it gay to ride the Ferris wheel? Two friends sitting on the opposite side of the Ferris wheel car because they're not gay.
Kitty's with us.
Catherine, everything is someone's kink. Think about Burger King. Look at you ass. Like, genuinely? Okay. Smoking is a fetish.
Everything is a fetish. If you can think of it, it doesn't matter what it is, it's someone's fetish.
There is a smoking fetish community on YouTube, and they also fetishize, like, lung cancer. And death from. It's wild. Everything's a fetish, including making spaghetti on your marble countertop.
Is the Ferris wheel an unsuitable location for guy time? No!
Change one letter in that.
Gay time. I mean, there's no laws about it. What is this? What is this weird subtext, Ryuji?
Okay, I'm never getting in a Ferris wheel, or getting on a Ferris wheel again, unless they've, like, Lysol'd the seats based on what Ryuji thinks is happening in them.
Mm-hmm. Who says I'm not into you, Ryuji?
Not quite.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Just, like, allow me to be
Let us date the guys.
a large gay bro type character.
Yeah, like
LGBT.
why can't we date the guys too? Why not? Why can't we?
I don't know. Like, maybe I wouldn't pick that if all the guys suck or whatever, but, like, make it an option.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I'm sorry, but if Mass Effect can allow you to be a female Commander Shepard without, like, any issue, I feel like having, you know, more than just a guy as your protag is possible in Persona.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's substantially difficult. They did it in Portable. Persona 3 Portable.
Yeah, like you could be a girl in E3P, and they had like romance roots with all the guys.
Okay.
So like, if you can be a girl and have romance roots with the guys, and can be a guy and have romance roots with the girls, why can't they just make it so you could be a guy or a girl and have romance roots with any of them?
Right. And here's the thing, like, it can't be like, it can't be that hard, like, to take gendered words and instead of having them just be like he or his or, you know, man or whatever, it can't be that hard to make it like a choice you make at the beginning of the game, right? Like, would you, you know, like, even if it's just like he, him, she, her, and they, them, you know, like, can't be that hard to replace that in text. And then, like, just let you, you know, pick what you want your character to look like, to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joker's a gender-neutral name. Or even, like, even if you feel like...
His canonical names are fairly gender-neutral, too. Like, Ren and Akira
Yeah,
are
they're
both,
fine.
like, fairly gender-neutral for Japanese names.
Yeah. And, like, even if you think, like, oh, Joker is a male name, then just have a separate name if you're not playing as a dude. Like, it's not that hard. I feel like it's...
Yeah.
I feel like, at least in terms of text, it would not be hard to have, like, more than just, you are a dude. Like, to have, like, 3 sets of pronouns, you know?
Gay marriage isn't legal in Japan yet, is it?
I don't know.
Do you want to look that up for me? Because I think, honestly, like, that's probably the reason we don't see it. Is, like... homophobia built into culture.
LGBT rights are relatively progressive by Asian standards in Japan, but... really...
Yeah, like, I don't think gay marriage is legal there. Like, they're more progressive, but they're still, like, very, very heteronormative. So I would expect that, like, that and, like, that's why they probably don't do that. Or don't let us, like, just date whoever.
I mean, they're still having, like, as of 2 months ago, issues with people trying to constitutionally ban gay marriage, so...
Well, I mean, so is the US.
Yeah, but one comes on the backside of, like, it actually being federally legal. Right. You know what I mean? And it is not yet, from what I can tell, federally legal. And then people are saying, well, it shouldn't have ever been made federally legal, which is sort of the US
Right, okay.
thing. It's like a slightly different conversation.
Yeah.
All she explained is that she could control whoever added her as a friend on Emma.
But, you know, like, by comparison, I guess since, like, 2003, it's been perfectly legal to transition various ways. So. Yeah, I mean, you do have to take into account the social differences in Japan, but, like, at the very least, I feel like, you know, it's different. Like, yeah, okay, I can see how in Zelda you play as Link, right? Like, and, you know, if in the sequel to Breath of the Wild you can play as Zelda to some extent, that'd be cool. But I can see why it's not like it's not like you get to pick between your male and female and gender neutral Link at the beginning, right? But, like, this is like a not this particular game, but, like, Persona games are just like high school simulators with an RPG also there. You know, like, girls go to high school too. Gender neutral people go to high school too.
Not so evil monarchs prove there's a mastermind behind all this.
The fact that jails are fundamentally different.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and I think that's a major thing, right? Like, whereas Persona, like, Zelda is a series that is Link and Zelda and to some extent Ganon, in parentheses, Dorf, are woven throughout the vast majority of them. Whereas in Persona, like, you know, it's not like you're playing the same sort of like identifiable persona dude every time. Yeah, like if you're playing a different protagonist character each time, I don't see why, like, I don't see why you couldn't have, like, here's another thing, if you want to just, like, how different would it have been to make Makoto the playable female character, and you just swap Joker's assets into, you know, now Joker is, you know, Akira Nijima, and he is the younger brother of Sai. You know? Now Joker rides the bike. Exactly.
No, it's nastier than that. What if that door isn't to keep intruders out, but to trap monarchs in?
Like butterflies?
I thought
Like butterflies.
were the ones in charge.
Exactly.
Think about it. What would happen if a monarch tried?
What would happen if a monarch tried leaving their cage?
The door, and then hear the voices of their trauma?
Exactly.
Futaba's on, like,
Remember what made them so warped in the first place?
Futaba's like radicalizing grandmas on Facebook or something.
Thus, the cycle continues unbroken.
She was like a cyber terrorist at like 13.
Yeah.
So Futaba can do whatever she wants.
Futaba just launched a missile at the moon while we were talking about butterflies, so...
There to prevent the monarch's trauma from being discovered. They're wardens guarding an elaborate system to ensure the monarch's imprisonment.
I love the loop of her leg animation, where she does like 3 sort of mid-speed kicks,
How's Hyodo-san's smartphone looking?
and then it gets real slow.
But I did find traces of surveillance.
Hmm.
I'll bet it's the same snooper we keep running into, though I'm lost as to who it might be.
So this observer and our mastermind may just be one and the same.
Always thinking about
Any
ants.
guesses?
Mhm.
Suspect is Medivh, the company in charge of Emma. Since you can't get into jails without
No, not Emma. Poor Emma.
it off as mere coincidence.
Medivh, huh? Too bad we can't just storm their headquarters.
You mean the cops can't?
Always thinking about ants.
Yeah.
Of course not. How could we even put out a warrant on them? By saying they go around turning people into monarchs?
Oh.
You have a call from Ichinose.
Hi there! Sorry for the relative lapse in communication.
She's a scientist.
Some info that I thought you guys might like to know. So I've been
I
looking
love
into
her,
it, and I still have yet to find any differences between
Her
her
ear
most and
thing?
present versions. I mean,
her dangerously unique earring choice.
somebody could pry open and take a look inside. But then I took a peek at Emma's changelog, and that's where things got interesting. It seems Emma was transported to Okinawa at some point after I sold her to Medivh.
Oh, Emma actually is a name of an entity?
It's an app.
Okay.
Emma is like this new social media app that like basically everyone has a password. If you want to be their friend, you put in their password.
She's calling it her. Emma is Sophie's twin sister? Is that accurate?
I think it might be something like that. Like she's calling it a her, but essentially Emma is like a piece of software.
Oh, is this like a her in the sense that a boat is a her?
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So Emma is like when the monarchs or the jail ruler people, when you put in their password, like they kind of control you, so you're automatically like doing their bidding.
Gotcha. I mean, that was what I assumed, Catherine, but...
No, I'll tell you. Like, I have my, so Sophie, we essentially found her, like, as a piece of code personified inside of one of the jails. My, essentially, Ichinose wrote the code for Emma and sold it off to Medivh when they, like, bought her out because she needed money, and she was like, yeah, I wrote this thing. You guys are offering me like a huge amount of money for it, so take it, it's yours. go sell it. Do your stuff. But then they made modifications because she didn't build in any of like the jail palace stuff. So my hunch is that the Emma that she wrote, the actual code she wrote is Sophie. And Emma, the app, that is modified. So like the original code got buried and became Sophie. That's what I think.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Why was the first thing
Like, that earring gets caught on something. Like the first time you wear it, and you just tear your whole ear off.
I've never played this game before. I don't know.
has a research lab. Oddly enough, its existence is unknown to the public. And when I called to ask for records, nothing came up. Basically, they're running a secret research lab. How crazy is that? So, if Emma's been altered in any way, I would think it had to have been done on that island. Well, guys, wasn't I a super stellar source of information? You just leave it to me. I've become rather fond of investigating, actually. Well, guess it's bye for now, Phantom Thieves. Please regale me with tales of your adventure another time.
So what did Ichinose-san say?
Thanks.
Okinawa? Crystal clear waters? Shisa statues? Juicy pineapples?
Shinsuko cookies?
Oh, that too! It's that ramen-like thing, yeah?
Guys, can you snap out of it?
We're teenagers. We care about food.
Food's alright. Pretty fond of eating.
I like being alive.
I like being
Most days.
I like being alive.
It may be well worth going, but Kukujima is a bit far from the Okinawa mainland. Then I guess we'd have to go by plane.
Wait, what about our precious Feathermobile?
Ooh.
We've taken it all this way!
That's what you're naming this thing?
Plus, you said it'd be dangerous using public transportation.
Even so, wouldn't it be too complicated to try to reach Okinawa by car?
Give me a second. Hey, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, of course I'm aware, but I also have a job to do, you know?
Who's he talking to?
Why would I lie? I'm being honest, I swear. Of course I remember. The thing is, I'm a little... well... Oh.
You got hung up on.
Okay, guys. Plane's a no-go. We're driving.
Huh?
You mean we're going all the way to Okinawa by car?
The thing is, I need to make a stop along the way. So we'll be heading to Kyoto first.
Did you say Kyoto?
I'm hoping that it turns out that
Yeah, I primarily work for the Kyoto Police Department.
the real Sophie is the friends we made along the way.
You know, cop stuff. After that, we head to Kobe. We can take a direct ferry to Okinawa from there. That ought to cut down on time.
But that's still quite a distance. Even to Kyoto.
Not to worry. I'll do the driving.
You're tagging along?
Or perhaps that the real friends we made along the way
Nijima's been
is
doing all the
Sophie.
driving? Okumura, I thought you already had your license.
I do have it. It's just... I don't have much experience behind the wheel.
Hey, look, I do
Driving is not exactly...
I do agree with the message on this sweater,
We're taking off immediately.
but I would find it very strange to see a person wearing this or wear it myself.
Show. Can you send that picture?
If we're leaving from here, you'll need to
This
take
is-
the Hokuriku Expressway.
And it was purchased at Zoomies, like at the mall.
21 hours?
I would wear that sweater.
Gramps is correct.
Why?
21 hours? Are you nuts?
You forget
Such
I'm
a
off
wildly
tomorrow?
strange message to have on a sweater that you're wearing all the time.
Animal, it's like you lit a fire under his ass.
Fine by me. So long as I
Like,
can
yeah, I
visit Kyoto
agree,
at
but
last.
There goes Inari, revealing his true colors.
I found a typo. Metal should be metal.
Should. Unless you have like an actual Olympic medal under the gas pedal in your vehicle.
Are we friends yet? Okay. We're gonna. Yes. I'm just gonna see stuff.
What? Huh. Oh, welcome.
I'm gonna do the shopping.
Is that all you need? Thank you, thank you. Yo!
Indeed.
What should I get?
So you learned all the secrets about Sophia?
Yes. You done? Want your receipt at all? Here you go. You done? Want your receipt at all?
I know you won't tell me anything,
You done?
but that's okay.
At all? Want your receipt at all? Here you go. Thank you.
Isn't that fun to know secrets that I don't know? You must be enjoying yourself.
Oh, that's dope. Come again. That was fun while it lasted.
OMG.
Knowing secrets is so good. I like making predictions. I actually have to like bite my tongue sometimes when I'm watching TV shows with Corey because he gets mad at me when I keep saying my predictions out loud. He's like, can you just watch the show and stop spoiling things? Even though I don't know what's gonna happen and I'm literally just predicting. Right, Corey?
Yeah, it happened.
Sometimes I'm just correct.
Not like recently.
Yeah, I guess. But like, to be fair, that's also how I used to do classes. Like, I would literally like sit in lectures and write down what I thought the answer to problems that we were doing in class was going to be, and then see if I was right. And if I was right, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. And if I wasn't right, I would write down why. And that is how I learned things. So like, I don't do it to be mean to you.
Good evening.
Salvia charm. I thought it said saliva. I don't actually care.
Thank you.
Let's see.
What do you mean to your job? I literally don't know how to perform a phantom dash, but that's fine.
Looks good to me.
I literally got points for looking for a 4-leaf clover with Sophie.
Let's come here again.
The cat does perv on a girl. The cat's been perving on like literally all the game and then all of Persona 5. He's like in love with her.
Yeah, cat's perv.
He's a bit of a perv. But he's our perv.
I should learn something.
Okay. I feel like this is as good as a place to stop for the night as any. Because the moment I get in the van, it's going to be cutscenes forever. So I think this might be good night. But thank you for watching and enjoying and interacting.
I'll just add this.
And I had a good time, and I hope you had a good time too. And I guess it will be a good night. Love you too. Good night.